Hey, David Wygant, 10-minute daily reality check. We're going to talk about something today different that isn't about Josh McDaniels and the speculation of the Indianapolis Colts. I'm kind of sick of speculation. All day long today, I listened to NFL radio, and it was nonstop speculation. I felt like I was hanging out with a bunch of little girls who had their first crush, and they couldn't figure out why Josh McDaniels was not coming to the prom. It didn't make any sense at all. Grown men were calling, oh my God, this is Deflategate all over again, the evil empire. There must have been a secret deal between Belichick and McDaniels and Kraft at the last minute. Yeah, there must have been. Or maybe Andrew Luck's shoulder is hanging by a thread. Who cares? Get on with your life. And today we've got somebody who's amazing. John will introduce him. We're going to show you how to not only get on with your life, we're going to show you how to make some money, because there's something going on in this world right now. It's called change, and change is good, and it's got a little risk to it. And there's things called stop losses, and there's things called cryptomania and all this other great stuff. But hey, if you really want to get on the bandwagon and make some serious coin this year, we've got the man on right now. John Keegan, will introduce him, and we will roll into probably one of the best podcasts coming up this week at least.
All right. Hey, glad to be here, John Keegan. Yeah, we've got Jacob Canfield of I Love Crypto from YouTube on, and I stumbled upon him maybe a month or so ago. And right away, I was drawn in and listening and learning. At first, I was a little skeptical because the guy is so good looking. I thought, how can he know all this stuff, you know? but he does. And so little by little, I just kept learning and watching, and now we're just getting his alerts, and we're learning all the trades that we can make. Essentially, Jacob is a crypto master, or you really understand the markets really well from day to day and the overall trading strategies. And, you know, initially, as I've gotten into this personally, it's just been with the idea, okay, I'll hold some Bitcoin. And then the next thing you know, every single day, there's all these other cryptocurrencies. And it seems like if I had $100 trillion, I couldn't invest enough in the next one. So it's, you know, how do we, you know, manage our way through this whole thing? And maybe you can just start any other way you want to talk about it. But how does
I'm a fundamental trader. I'm a fundamentalist and a trader, right? So I traded. I've been investing since I was 14, and you know, small stuff in the beginning, obviously when you're 14. But then I got pretty serious into options, commodities, forex, some pretty intense trading. But I've always had a pretty strong tech background. I used to build custom computer cases for gamers when I was younger, when I was like 16, 17. Always had just kind of a background in technology. I have a mobile application development company that's still going in Michigan, actually. So I've always been kind of on the up to speed on most of the current, you know, the trends in technology. And so for me, cryptocurrencies just made a lot of sense. I actually got involved with mining from my laptop when I was younger, when I was in college. And then, you know, I never really took it super far, because then I became a doctor and some other things and kind of left the cryptocurrency side. But then back in 2016, late 2016, I started seeing more explosive growth. So, and then Ethereum really started to kind of trickle in and start to become really popular, and smart contracts and some of these a little bit more complex concepts. And so that's when I really got involved, and I started putting a lot more money into the markets. And I got some really killer deals. I've had, you know, to date, I've had about 7,000% return on my portfolio, which has been, you know, amazing, obviously from a money standpoint. But to get through a lot of this stuff, it's very difficult to stay on top of every single cryptocurrency that comes out, because you have a new ICO launching all the time. And so what I would say is find something that matches what you understand, right? If you understand finance, find a cryptocurrency in the financial sector that makes sense to you, you understand it, that's going to have a long-lasting purpose. Because, you know, just like the dot-com bubble, and we're not even anywhere near the dot-com bubble. I've done an incredible amount of research comparing the two. But, you know, if you like sports, there's sports betting cryptocurrencies, right? And if that's up your wheelhouse, you know, get involved with those types of projects and invest in things that you kind of understand and you know. There's lots of different cryptocurrencies out there. And what I would say is just find ones that you can get behind that are changing an industry that you're in. There's, you know, there's real estate, there's sports, there's cloud storage. I mean, there's all kinds of different cryptocurrencies. And what I would say is find one that makes sense for you and then invest in it, because it's a super volatile market. It's a wild ride. And so if you find something that makes sense to you that you can invest in, then you can hold it through the ups and the downs of the market, because you know that it's going to be a life-changing technology when it kind of comes online, when these prototypes get built and these companies actually get all their projects and their products out and they start completing their roadmap, then they're going to start to become really valuable down the road. Instead of these fly-by-night, just, coins that have no real purpose or utility, getting your money in those, like David was saying, speculation, right? A lot of these projects are speculation. So the easiest thing to do is find these companies with existing products, with existing users. And those are my favorite ones. I'll tell you, I know you had Ian Bellina on talking about ICOs. 90% of ICOs that are the 90% that are the most successful already have a working prototype, right? Mm-hmm. So those are the best ones to invest in, the ones that are going to come out the gate killing it, because they've already got a prototype, they've already got a project, they've already got users on board. And so those are the ones that you can get behind and make a lot of money, because they've got a lot of people that are a lot of users, and they've got a product already. So those are some of my favorite ones to get involved with.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
It's interesting. I started when John told me about you, just because last year I kind of ignored the whole thing. John begged me at one point, buy some Bitcoin. And I was like, the hell's Bitcoin? And it's funny you say find something in the industry. I can imagine if dating, it would be like Lint coin, because most people have no dating life. They just have Lint when they reach in their pocket, right?
A lot of the people involved in cryptocurrencies, their dating life is not good right now.
No.
You're gonna have to pay for dinner tonight, honey. Bitcoin's down 50%.
Yeah, exactly. The dating life isn't that good at all. And a lot of them they just sit there and they watch it. But it's interesting because, I told John, I said, I don't like I'm not a holder, I'm more of, I'm more of like, give me some plays. Let me watch the charts. Let me see what goes on. Let me have a stop loss. Let me have a target. And that's my mentality. That's the way my brain works.
So you're not an investor. I mean, so long-term investors, my partner, Mark, he's a long-term investor. He's held through 90% corrections.
Wow.
I get in and get out of the market. Well, he's done pretty well, so we watched, I bought Ethereum at $5. I sold it at like 350. It went to 400, and then it dropped all the way back down to $70. Actually, it dropped down because there was a fake story that the creator of Ethereum was killed. And that's why it crashed. No, that was the only reason. There was this fake story, and he had to actually show a picture of himself with the block number for Ethereum. And but it went from 400 all the way down to like 50, 60, $70. And then he held through all that. And then obviously it made a run all the way up to 1,200. So there's different strategies. And I can tell you, if I would have held a majority of my Ripple, I'd have about $100 million today. But I sold a majority of it at $1. So I still did extremely well because I bought it under a penny. And Ripple went to $3.30, but I had, I think 25 million Ripple, and I had over 30 million Stellar. But I get in and get out of the market just like everybody. But Ripple's back down to 70 cents, right? So I sold at $1. It went to $3.20, and I sold some more there. I didn't sell everything at $1, but I sold a lot of my position because that's 1,000% return. And anybody should be happy with that. And so that's cost averaging in, cost averaging out. And it really depends on the technology. Some of them you should just hold on to them for 5-10 years. Like there's a couple of tokens that have just been released that they're not going to see like a lot of popularity because they're built on top of other blockchains and cryptocurrencies.
Well, it's interesting because I've been following your, insider stuff, and I've been listening to it and watching the videos you put up on YouTube, which are really great. And I always believe this, if you're going to do anything in life, find somebody that can mentor you, whether it's on YouTube, whether you pay for the mentorship, whatever, but find somebody whose brain is aligned with yours, right? So, and I went and I told John, I said, John, I want somebody who understands I'm about skimming, making money, and maybe holding a position playing with house money for the long term. Because if I'm playing with house money for the long term, yeah, John's a holder.
I'm holding the bag.
Yeah,
right
so we've got like two different types of ways. There's a bunch of different ways you could trade. Number one is day trading. That's a full-time job. That's a lot of work. You got to be at a computer ready to roll 24/7 you know, and that's like where you don't even hold overnight. That's day trading. What I like, and what I like for my subscribers and the people that follow me, is swing trading. That's much easier. You get in on a good position, either a breakout trade, meaning it's broken a trend, and then you buy at that point, and then you kind of ride it up that trend, and then you sell at targets. That's really easy. Or you can just move your stop limits, which is essentially if the price falls back down, it'll get you out of the trade, but you can lock in profits. And so that's the easiest way to trade. And so I really like swing trading because you can trade on, you know, purported news, like a news catalyst, like rebranding is a really big catalyst. And there's a couple of big rebrands coming up this month that, you know, I talk about in some of my videos. Those are great trades to get at because rebranding is usually brings a lot of heat and a lot of attention to a cryptocurrency, and usually it drives the price up. A perfect example is there was a coin called Ant Shares, which was like the Ethereum of China, and then they rebranded themselves to Neo, and so they went from 17 cents to $150.
Wow.
Right. And that was a big part of that rebrand because nobody really liked the name Ant Shares. They rebranded themselves to Neo, really did a full marketing plan, and they killed it. And then there's another one called Ray Blocks. They just rebranded themselves to Nano, had a really nice solid run before Bitcoin kind of pulled the whole market with it. But so these companies, they understand that like if they have like a Chinese name or a name that's not fluent with all investors, then they're probably not going to get that notoriety or that name recognition. It's just kind of like, you know, they want that one that's 2-syllable name that's really easy to pronounce. And so that you'll see a lot of these ones that are starting to rebrand to make themselves a little bit more well known in the markets.
See, that's interesting. I bought today because I've been following your stuff. So I bought List this morning.
Yeah.
Based on the exact entry point, you know, so, and it's interesting because I've tried day trading in the past, and it just drives you nuts because, you know, you go to the bathroom, and you're like, oh my God, I just went to the bathroom and I just missed my entry point. Right.
Yeah.
And like, and then you got to sit there and stare at the screen all day long and just watch it. And you start seeing candlesticks as you go to sleep at night. It just drives you crazy. So I love the way that you swing trade things because you give people what I call the safety. It's like you got a stop loss. So stop loss is, look, if it hits it, you lose money on that trade. It's okay. It is what it is, right? But you give constant updates that watch this better. Your entry points yesterday, by the way, I missed them because I was out yesterday morning, but all your entry points yesterday on the big coins were fantastic. I mean, they were all, they all would have made somebody money yesterday.
I was actually at the gym watching the markets, and that's the hard part is I can't, you know, I try to be in front of a computer 24/7, but you got to stay healthy. So I was at the gym and I was watching the markets, and I watched 4 indicators all turn bullish at the same time. So when I sent out that signal, I just said, buy all the major coins. And so then I had to go back and clarify like that, you know, these 4 coins. And so, but yeah, I mean, I don't try to catch the bottom. I like to see it turn over on a bunch of bullish indicators. And there's a lot of different technical things that you can look at to make sure that we're kind of getting out of that confirmed bearish run or whatever. And
where are we now in the market? Like, do we think it's going to keep dropping down, or how far can you predict into the future, so to speak?
So up until our first 3 months, we were hitting 90% plus trades and targets.
Wow.
And we had in our first 90 days a 5,500% return on our day trading.
Wow.
On our swing trading. The problem is, and this is where people get really confused, and I talk about this on YouTube a lot, is technical analysis. Some traders will claim that it can also predict black swan events, but a black swan event is a black swan event, right? So when Korea comes out and says they're banning all anonymous users, which is like a majority of the drive in Korea, driving a large part of trading volume, the price is going to go down. That's a black swan. When the SEC says they've got a hearing and they're going to regulate cryptocurrencies, these are black swan events that will pull the market down. Now, what I've seen, I've been in the game for a long time. What I've also seen is when Bitcoin moves sideways, the altcoins have this flexibility to move up and move down and have massive runs. And so even if we can predict that Bitcoin's going down, which, at 19,000, if you go back and look at all of the updates that we were given, the Bitcoin's Bitcoin has looked weak since December like 17th. It's not, it hasn't been a great trade since December 17th, and we've been basically warning. But even when Bitcoin's going down, you can still have other coins that kind of rise to the top and move really well. So even when Bitcoin's going down, it's not like we should be overly fearful, except in some cases when you get an orchestrated, like Tether is an issue. You had all these news stories, just one after another, and it gave no chance to find support. And so those are the times where it's just like, let's get out of the market, let's chill out, and then let's just find a re-entry point so we can buy back in at a better price, get some more coins, accumulate more coins, and then just add to our stockpile. Because ultimately, long term, I'm very bullish. I'm with John McAfee. I'm not going to bet, that I'm going to eat any of my area, but I'm still very bullish. I think 100,000 Bitcoin in 2 to 3 years is not out of the realm of possibility.
That's amazing. And would you say, like, when you're talking about 1,000% returns, do you think there's that we still have time to make those kind of things? Still, like people entering in now, is there still 100%, 1,000% returns?
100% is easy, man. There's been 10 coins in the last like 3 days that have had 100% return. Blue Zell was an ICO that I wish I could have got in on, but it hit on Binance and it went from 4,000 Satoshis to 12,000. So that's a 300% return. But that wasn't even from the ICO price. That was just from like getting listed onto the exchange. 24 hours later, 300% return. And so in this market, it's interesting because some of these coins, like one of them was Zilliqa, which I'm very bullish on Zilliqa long-term. It's one of my favorite long-term picks.
And you would buy it now, right today?
Yeah, I mean, for a long-term. For long-term, right? I mean, I bought it at 9 cents because they proved sharding. They've got all this, the 2,600 transactions per second. They're crushing Ethereum. They've got all these, it's a very, very fast blockchain. At the private sale, it was 0.004 cents. At the ICO, it was 0.007 cents. It got listed on the exchange at 12 cents. So from the private sale to the exchange, that was a 1,300% return, 13x on your money.
Wow.
And so, that's why I talk about portfolio strategies. A small 20% of my portfolio is day trading. Then I've got long-term holds, and then I've got ICO holds. And so I don't just put it all on just trading. I'm an excellent trader, but I also know that these projects in the long run, whether they go up 50% or 1,000%, whatever, these projects are going to rule the cryptocurrency markets. Like a perfect example is a coin called Nebulas, NAS.
Yeah.
Nebulas is like Google for the blockchains. Is that important right now? No, but in a decentralized infrastructure where nobody controls anything, you're going to need a search engine because people are going to want to find music, art. They're going to want to find pictures, movies, all these, you've got Singular DTV who has all these movies and music. They're producing decentralized content that they're curating. And it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as more projects, more cryptocurrencies. So Nebulas isn't valuable now, but in 4 or 5 years, you got to think with this blockchain industry, you're going to need a search engine. So it's going to be a very valuable token in the future because right now it's like $8 to $10. But in the future, think about Google's market cap. And that's one really easy way that we use to kind of like project out possible scenarios of value is we just compare the centralized counterpart to the decentralized counterpart. So the non-blockchain counterpart, so like Google, we compare that to Nebulas. And then we say, even if they get 1 to 5% or 10% of Google's market cap, what could that equal and how many coins do they have overall? So that's just one of the ways that we try and look at value as far as like buy up to prices or fundamental, but yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, there's just, and this is why, this is when John and I were talking. So this is why I wanted to have you on the podcast because I watch what you give out on YouTube and then being part of your insider, I see you can really take people by the hand. And
that's the goal.
And that to me, and I got to tell you, and I give you thumbs up on that unbelievably because you tell them when to enter, you tell them when to, how long to hold for, you're giving people the information that they need because a lot of people are like, well, yeah, I want to play and I want to learn how to do this, but I also want to make money in the meantime as I'm doing that. And a lot of people, I mean, I've always been interested in technical analysis because I like drawing the little lines and I like seeing the charts. And, you know, I could see Ethereum every day. I could see plays in Ethereum all day long. I mean, because to find a number, it likes to find a number that it likes to hit, and then it likes to have a range, and it's got its day range. And, you know, you could sit there and play Ethereum all day long if you want, you know, but what I love is that you are telling people, hey, this is a great play for now, take your profit and then leave it in because this is something that's going to change. And I like how you're giving people that information because it's so valuable, because you're 100% right, is that people don't know where to go long term. And you're going, hey, look, leave a percentage in because this could change the way the world is in X, Y, and Z category. And that to me is brilliant because as a teacher and a coach for 20 years, you know, I love the way that your style is because you listen very carefully, you answer questions, but you explain it so people can actually get wealthy. And you're also part of what I always believe in life is that the more we give, the more we get back. It's a tenfold thing. And you're not holding anything back. Like there's a lot of people who give tips and they'll hold it back. You know, they'll always hold back a little bit. You're not holding back anything, which I think is really great. And that's why I've really enjoyed watching your stuff and really getting the updates every single day.
Yeah, it's funny because people keep asking me to produce my, you know, when I first started, I was going to create a trading course for people called the Cryptocurrency Masterclass. And I released it to 100 people. They're doing really well. And it was just very time consuming to answer very technical analysis questions. And I really wanted to just get out there and educate the public on blockchain. I actually got my own certification through the crypto consortium called the Certified Bitcoin Professional. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to have the understanding, the fundamental knowledge of hashing power, cryptography, and all these like really complex concepts. Because what I like to do, my gift, I would say in life, is taking really complex concepts and making it easy for people to understand, no matter what the topic is. And so that's really what got me into it. The biggest motivator, though, to be honest, was I was a part of a bunch of trading groups. I was a part of a bunch of Facebook groups, and they were just getting roped in to MLMs and scams. And it was insane to watch all these people just throwing money at, you know, at all kinds of different things. I mean, I've been against BitConnect, USI Tech. I mean, if you go back and look at all my original content, it's just all about why take all that risk for very little gains, right? I mean, 1 to 2% a day, sure, that's great compounding interest, but it's 100% risk, as you can see, you know, with all these companies that are kind of folding. So that's really what drove me to start producing content on YouTube. Was I just really didn't want to see any more people get hurt or burned in these markets. I mean, that was really the big motivator.
What would you say? One of the things also is like, I'm always trying to understand blockchain technology, the decentralization in and of itself. Like to me, I love the idea. It's a very libertarian idea, isn't it? In a way, like we don't need a big daddy looking over us or somebody in between us. But
well, yeah, I mean, I can explain that. So Bitcoin came about because of the financial crisis. Nobody knows who created Bitcoin. I have some theories myself, but it was either a cryptographer or a group of cryptographers.
Or Josh McDaniels.
Or Josh McDaniels. Yeah. Or Kraft. He's got, you know, he's given McDaniels some Bitcoin to stay. But, you know, what it was the financial collapse in 2008. This guy, Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he may be, whomever, he decided to create this system that doesn't need a central authority. And why that's beautiful is because all these central authorities like Equifax, Capital One, you name it, that have these credit card companies or these banks, all of our information, our private information, from our address to our social security number to all these things, are centrally located. And you're seeing what's happening. Target got hacked.
Yep.
Equifax got hacked. All these, PlayStation Network. There's like 20 of them. So what that means is all of our data is getting leaked onto these black markets, people, identity theft, all these different things. So what Bitcoin does is it allows us to have custody of our own money. And then it allows me to send a transaction from me to David, me to John, that isn't controlled by any, but also he doesn't need to know my identity. He doesn't need to know my details. Now you can, you know, obviously trace it back by that identity, but it's really cool because it's private. It's a private transaction. And so our details aren't held in a centralized ledger. They're on this open ledger that everybody can openly view, which solves the double spend issue. Meaning if I give John $5 and then he gives it to David, we have a system that will account. It's basically just an accounting system that allow us to know where that money was sent. But I really like it from that standpoint that we have custody of our own funds. Now, what we're going to see personally is what I'm going to see, as I think we're going to see, is we're going to see a ecosystem that's going to happen with banks and decentralized technology, and they're gonna coexist, because some people, they don't want custody of their funds, right? People don't want to put cash on a mattress. That's why they have banks. So some people they're still going to want to use their banks, but now we're going to have both of these available. So you're going to be able to spend in dollar or in Bitcoin, and they're going to coexist as a system as long as the dollar stays around.
That's pretty, so, and then also it's not just about money, it's about information in general, right? I could send you health information without anyone getting involved, this kind of thing, right?
So the biggest industry that's being disrupted right now is definitely finance, because it's very antiquated technology. They've got all these different bank systems that are super old. They don't talk to each other. There's no interoperability with them. And so a lot of these services and industries, they're being built for hedge funds and banks and stuff like that. But there's a lot of other industries that are going to be disrupted. And the one question that I always ask myself is, does it need blockchain? And not everything needs blockchain. Everybody's going blockchain crazy, right? A golf course doesn't need a blockchain or an ICO coin. It doesn't make any sense. But so what's really cool is just the concept of blockchain. So this might not come through really well in audio, but the simplest answer to what blockchain is it's just transactions that you can't go back and change. And you can insert information in what we call a smart contract in those transactions. So if I send David money, but with that money, there's a contract attached with it that basically says, it can have a deed to a house that says, if I give you 35 Ethereum, then you give me this house. So what happens is we have this chain of transactions. It's called the blockchain. I send that transaction and it becomes a block. Then what happens is, let's say John sends $20 to his girlfriend for pizza. That becomes a transaction. And now it forms a chain. And as each block becomes further along, you cannot go back and change that. And so it becomes an immutable ledger. And that's the coolest part, because it's distributed to thousands of people that are keeping tracks of these ledgers, but it's all private. So we can view the transactions. I can see exactly what happened. So this is how these smart contracts are going to work. And so this chain, it's basically an immutable chain. So you can't go back and change it. So it's fraud proof, tamper proof. It's trustless, meaning there's no third party that's controlling it. And that's the coolest part of the system. And you can use that with a million different things, whether it's your identity, whether it's, so we put your identity on the blockchain layer with a blockchain transaction. You can do it with finances, sending money. You can do it with all kinds of different disruptive services. There's a lot of future stuff that's coming too. Like, basically what blockchain's allowing is it's allowing the integration of AI, of robotics, of, all these different forms of emerging technologies. And it's basically just going to wrap them all together. And it's going to bring them all together to allow for automatic payments and all kinds of different really cool stuff.
I got a question for you. And
does that make sense though? Does that?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And the way you described it was great. I'm going to ask you a question because you're passionate about what you do. And John and I are firm believers, man. Life is all about passion. Passion breeds success. Passion breeds friendships. Passion breeds romance. Passion breeds everything. And you're a father, so the more passionate you are around your child, the more she blossoms in front of you, which is such a beautiful thing to watch, right? So with this, how does it feel to be on the cutting edge of what I would consider, if you think about it, we can go back and people are comparing to the dot-com age, 98, 99, 97, 98, 99, but this is far more technologically advanced and everything else. How does it feel to be really on the cutting edge of the way things are changing? How does it feel? And is that your biggest, because that's what I'm feeling, that inspiration from you, which is really contagious.
I love it, man. I would say this is very different than the dot-com era. And I can tell you why. The dot-com era, why pets.com failed. Pets.com today would be the Amazon of food for animals. The Amazon of, it would crush today. Back then though, nobody was on the internet. There wasn't a network to feed these companies that were growing like crazy. They were getting all kind of institutional money. There was just not enough people on the internet. What's really driving a lot of this cryptocurrency adoption is economic uncertainty. Uncertain economies like Zimbabwe, Greece, Venezuela, where they don't trust their government, and rightly they should not, because their currency is worth nothing. So people are taking their life savings and they're moving it and hedging it into cryptocurrencies because they want it to hold value. So one of the best things about cryptocurrencies is the store of value. And a lot of people have moved monies into it. I mean, I'm talking to villages who are part of my program. It's basically like keeping their village from, they're using Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to be able to pay for everyday goods. They're transferring it back into their local currency and then they're moving it back into Bitcoin. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, that's where I get really passionate, because a lot of these companies that I'm really, really invested in, it's all about the emerging markets where people don't have bank access. Wow. And it's about giving them access to a digital wallet. Everybody has a phone, but nobody has a bank. So they don't have anywhere to put their money. Now there's companies where they're going to eventually get to the point where they can put cash in an ATM and it shows up on their digital wallet as a cryptocurrency. And then they can start paying, at restaurants and actually saving money. And, and then the other part is immigrants, man. I mean, I don't know where you fall politically, but one of the biggest issues is Western Union and MoneyGram. They're ripping people off, man.
Oh, big time.
Just to send $1,000 back home, it costs like $250, right?
Oh my God.
So, I mean, just to get to their family. So if you take a technology like Ripple or Stellar, where it's pennies on the dollar and that technology exists, that's where I'm getting super passionate. And, I've just always loved technology. I've got an Oculus Rift VR. I'm investing in some really cool up and coming films that are like all super interactive. And so I just really like technology just in general, but I like technology that's going to just better the world. And I think that cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is going to eliminate a lot of fraud. I mean, imagine with a blockchain, imagine if you could see your contribution to a charity, and then they can publicly identify, this is our wallet. Then you can see where that money's going, and you can see where it's getting spent. I mean, you're seeing like with these scams with Red Cross.
So many scams.
Susan G. Komen, Wounded Warrior. I mean, they're showing up every day, and these places are raking in millions of dollars on the thought that it's going to a good cause, or just even political contributions. If we can see where super PAC money's going and we can track these through cryptocurrency and blockchain recognition, that's going to change the game. Now you're going to get actually authentic and transparent and honest elections. I mean, that's why I'm really passionate about it.
I think that's amazing. Maybe then also we can have like a Louis C.K. blockchain, we can see what all these molesters have done, and go, hey, look, it's on the blockchain, man. I really didn't touch her. I swear I did. I love what you said about the charities, because every single time, it's funny, my daughter will walk around and she'll be like, Daddy, they need money, for they're saving something. And the only thing I really want to say to her is, unfortunately, they're probably saving themselves. They're not, the money never goes to where you think it goes. And that's what I love about that, is if you can actually see where the money's going, maybe people would be a little more generous and a little more open, because there are a lot of great things that are happening in the world, except there's so many scams that are happening in the world too.
And that's, where money's at is you're gonna attract a flock of these people that are scamming. I'm actually, one of my next YouTube videos is the top 10 scams in cryptocurrency and how to avoid them. And then my video after that is how to secure yourself through, private wallets, two-factor authentication, just kind of go A to Z on how to like protect yourself. And so I'm just seeing just on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, I've got about 22 people that are me, that are asking people for money, that are trying to do contests and stuff like that. And you're seeing it with every single personality that's out there. There's just hundreds of people that are trying to leverage their name. And, I'm reporting them, but they're just, like locusts. They just keep spreading.
Will there eventually be like a decentralized Twitter, decentralized Facebook? Is that,
it's already here, man. I'm actually going to start moving some of my content from YouTube to a place called DTube and Steam It. Steam It is actually one of my favorite long-term holds.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So Steam It, they originally, I don't know if you guys know, but Steam It is a decentralized platform for blogging. It was really starting out focusing on just cryptocurrencies, but it's really blossoming and spreading out. It started out with 100,000 users and they filled it up in like 10 minutes or a day or something like that.
Wow.
And then they opened it up to 300,000 users and it is literally a day filled up. Now they're going to start to open it up to 3 million users. And believe it or not, Steemit has more transactions on the blockchain than even Bitcoin.
Wow.
It's BitShares, Steemit, and then Bitcoin. And so Steemit has a ton of transactions, because what happens is when you write a really good article and people like it, they can upvote it and they can give you Steam dollars. And so you can make money by publishing content on this Steemit platform. And they've got a video platform that when you produce content, some people on there are making $600, $700, $800 a video because people are upvoting it, and they upvote it with their Steam dollars as part of their subscription plan. And it's a really cool way that they're organizing it. And there's a couple of forks from Steemit that are coming out that are really cool. But so I'm very bullish on Steemit. But yeah, that's a decentralized platform. But yeah, we're going to see all kinds of decentralized content. You're already seeing what's happening on Facebook. They're like changing news feeds and algorithms and what people can see, and they're blocking things and private messages and all kinds of different stuff. It's becoming a very centralized place. And it's kind of scary that they have that much access to your information, that they can block that much stuff.
Oh, I tell people, and we're gonna end it now because it's usually 10 minutes. We've gone about 35 because this is fascinating. And I've told people over and over again, go ahead, keep posting all your stuff on Facebook, because the more you post on, I'm not a Facebook poster at all.
I just use groups, and we're going to move from Facebook groups very soon to Discord. And I'm going to start moving a lot of my content to the decentralized web, because I believe in a lot of this stuff. It's just, I wanted to get it out to the masses, because the masses aren't on that, like I'm just kind of preaching to the choir when I'm on Steemit and I'm on these other platforms. But getting on YouTube and getting out there, like my biggest goal is I just want to educate the public. I had a really great conversation. Actually, I went to the Super Bowl and I had a really great conversation with Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, and some other people, and he's going to invest in cryptocurrencies. So, for me, it's about getting out to the public and these big influencers, because that's how we're going to get more adoption. Because 2017 was awareness, and 2018 hopefully is participation.
Nope. And will someone like my 77-year-old aunt eventually be able to just like do stuff like this without thinking about it, like she can use an iPhone?
I'm involved in some projects that are going to, cutting edge education projects that are going to educate the very, very basic consumer using Disney animation, A to Z. Wow. This is what blockchain is. This is how to get involved. That should be launching very soon. I'll be talking about that pretty soon. But I have a good friend who's launching that platform, and it's going to be really awesome, pretty massive. I think he'll adopt a couple 100,000 users just with how clean and cutting edge it is.
Awesome. And one final thing, Super Bowl, was it worth it? Was that your first one?
Yeah, it was great, man. I loved it.
Great, right?
Yeah. It was interesting.
Eagles, right?
Yeah. I'm a fan of perfection. I was actually really upset when the Patriots did not go.
I'm a fan of perfection too. Yeah. So yeah,
I love perfection. So it's not. I'm a diehard Lions fan.
Yeah, I'm from Philly, so I had to be for the Eagles.
Yeah, John, you're a fair weather fan, man. You didn't even watch one game this year.
I only watched the last game.
Yeah,
I'm a diehard. We've got the Lions, man. We've got all the talent, and just it's just up here, man. Once they flip that around, I think they can win. But they need somebody to flip that around.
I've said it 1,000 times, and because I've been coaching for a long time, I always tell people all the time: if you're drafted by the Jets, that's my team, or the Lions, you immediately go into a culture that's never been changed. It's all culture. And that's and now I want you to tell people about what you do. The culture that you're creating through your YouTube videos and the culture that you're creating through your insider information is a culture of win. It really is. It's a culture. I feel like, and I can see your, New England Patriots side of you, because you're really creating something on a daily basis that not only builds trust, but there's a sense of community. And you feel like that actually the people in charge are doing it with integrity, with the goal to not only win, but here's what I've always said about the Patriots. You're playing the game to move forward regardless of what happens. Meaning if the game changes, and that's something you said today or yesterday, one of your texts was, get in at a certain time. But if Bitcoin starts heading back down, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're not like saying like, yeah, let's go make money. It's more like, hey, we're going to move forward, but you also have to realize that the other team might be playing and moving us down a little bit. So you might have to go and improvise and change the game plan during the day. And your whole attitude is really bringing a collective consciousness. So where can people find you besides YouTube? Okay. Where else? What's
So,
the website information? Give them all out. Give them all your information.
so I have a free group on Facebook. It's I Love Crypto. It's about 12,000 members strong, and it's a really great community, a super collective community. We've got a lot of really good people in there. My VIP group, it's a little bit more inner circle, and that's at signalprofits.com. We actually, how we designed it, the whole ethos of what we do, and the question that everybody asks is, what coin do I buy? So that's really like the cornerstone of like what we've tried to design. And so we have short-term holds, midterm holds, long-term fundamental portfolio holds, and we release all kinds of research each month on that stuff. But then we have a swing trading strategy for those that want to swing trade. And so in our inner circle group, we actually offer 14 days for $7.
Yep.
Depending on the timing of the market, it might not be a great time to join, because like sometimes 3-4 days, we might not send a single signal because that's the best play on the field, right? Just, and so depending on when you join, you can get a really good feel. You can go back through old trades, old signals, see how we did, see how we handled this, corrective market, and see how, see everything that happened. We have, it's $300 a month after the 14-day trial if you want to stay on, or it's $1,200 for 6 months. We really like people to commit because it's not like just a short-term strategy, because a lot of the holds, they might take a week to 2 weeks, right? And so if you're just ending the trial, it's hard to know like, when to get out, when to get in. And so our biggest thing is that we want to create a community. We want to make sure that everybody's involved, and we want to make sure that everybody knows A to Z, when to get in, when to get out, how to buy, how to sell, and how to protect yourself in case it goes down. And the goal is to have a higher percentage of winning trades than losing trades. And just like you were saying with the Patriot stuff, when we lose money, I feel it, man. And it's not that I'm not an emotional trader, but I just want to make sure that the people that I'm leading, I want to make sure that they're winning money. And so that's I eat, breathe, and live this stuff kind of 24/7. I'm just always on top of the market. I got a team of researchers, team of traders. And so my goal at the end of the day is to try to be a perfectionist, but obviously we're not going to win every trade, but I'm going to try and win a majority of them.
And I got to tell you, and I've looked, I've been researching and doing, trading for years, and I've looked at every single system, and I got to tell you, I'm fully endorsing it. I think I'm 10 days in on the trial. I've got no problem with it renewing. The information's priceless, and I wake up to it in the morning because I'm on West Coast time, and I'm like looking at it. Sometimes I miss something because I'm on West Coast time, which is perfectly okay. Sometimes I don't, but the integrity that's behind it, and that to me is the biggest thing. You got integrity. You have a goal because you're changing the way people are thinking about something. You're looking at the bigger picture, and you're like Bill Belichick of crypto right now, except you're not wearing the hoodie and you don't have a scowl on your face, and you haven't lost your defensive coordinator to the Lions. So Jacob, man, I really, really appreciate the time you spent.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Hold on. I got one more question.
All right, John, what's going on?
First of all, when it went all the way up to 20,000,
yes,
Bitcoin,
mm-hmm.
Did you still keep 70% of your portfolio long-term hold? So when all 70%.
No, so I've been holding Ethereum. So I sold a majority of my Ripple I sold probably 50% at $1. I sold another 25% at $2. Then I sold the rest, and then we had a trade from 29 cents to $3.30 on $3.30 on Ripple. So we made over 1,000% on Ripple. So I sold basically at the top. We had a little TRX. We sold that probably 10% from the top. So when they go really super parabolic and then the volume drops off, I sell a majority of my portfolio.
Okay.
Long term. Yeah. If it takes off like in a parabolic run, I'll sell it off. If it's just going, up 40%, down 40%, I'm not too worried about those little fluctuations. But when there's like a really strong catalyst that'll push it to really, really high price, then yeah, I'll cut a percentage of the portfolio off, and then I'll move it into like a different project, kind of compound those gains.
And that all is on Signal. That is all your updates that you give too. So that's really great. So people can it's literally like you have your hand held, and there's no better way to do that. And that's what's really great. Because when I learned trading, it was back in 2002. Nobody was holding my hand. It was like, and I forgot the name of the group that did it. And it was fun to learn it. But man, I'll tell you, there was nobody holding my hand.
I'll tell you, like there's some really, really high end subscription services. Some of them are like $2,000 a month, $3,000
Oh,
a
I
month
know.
for trading services. I see all of them because I'm, but not a single person said to get out of the market, and not a single person said to re-enter the market on any of those advanced trading signals. And so I thought that was really cool. The fact that we actually were able to get out of the market, get out of some positions, and then re-enter the market at a pretty decent price. And then, hopefully we continue to move up and up, up with that. But the markets right now, hopefully they just kind of level off and move sideways, because then we can pick our projects, and that's where we make our bread and butter, is when we can just kind of get a little bit of stability, because then I know what's coming up. I know the news. I have insider sources in Korea. I have kind of advanced knowledge on a lot of these things. So that's when we can really, really make some powerful trades.
Awesome. Well, let's just keep rolling along, man. Right?
Appreciate it, guys.
2018 for the masses, huh? Don't hate perfection. Look at perfection and embrace it.
Strive for it, man.
Strive for it. Jacob, thank you so much, man. This
Appreciate
was awesome.
you guys. Yeah, thanks
come
so
on
much.
back.
If you guys have any questions, just let me know anytime.
All right.
You got it. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
See ya.